Hello viewers, Super GT here. Welcome back to some more S-Class. Now I haven't actually stepped into this class for a while. Probably ought to do a bit more. It was my favourite in Forza Motorsport 6. Speaking of favourites, we are in the Carrera GT, which is also one of my favourite cars. And coming through Homestead, Miami, we're going to take the simple method here of just sticking to the inside line. And you see that kind of just avoided everyone. It's going to be a theme of this video actually. The fact that sticking to the inside line in a lot of occasions really does help, both in terms of blocking people and in terms of going past people who crash. But anyway, when we find ourselves in 6th place, you can see the strength of this car is in its straight line speed, very good. And Homestead Miami does have a fair few amount of straights, so you have these short hairpins, short corners, and then very long straights. Coming out of this one onto this straight, the V8 supercar might have pinched me, but just leaves the space. Coming into the next hairpin, covering the inside line, and we've taken that very nicely. On the exit onto the back straight then, in 4th position. It's been a fairly decent start so far. Coming up to what I consider one of the best corners on this track. Really good challenge this one. Very wide entry, fast and flowing through there. You see actually the two guys ahead getting very close, one of them off onto the grass. It's very easy to go onto the grass around there. Just going to back off here. The Viper goes in too hot. You see that they make contact on the oval, and then I'm through up into 2nd place. You can see there, it was quite simple. I could see that situation developing into something bad. I didn't want to get involved, just let them both hit each other. And then the guy in 1st, unopposed, just completely drives off the circuit. I guess we can call that an unforced error. And I'm up into 1st place. Let's continue with the rest of this lap, but just test out this Porsche Carrera GT. I've got the tune by SLR PUNISHER, put his name in the description. I did try JuularDT's one as well, and it's pretty much the same. I think they've got exactly the same parts. I just thought I'd try out Punisher's one. I remember racing him on Forza 6, Punisher, around the Nürburgring, and I was in a Selena 7, and he was in this car, and he was so fast. And I was totally on it. Every corner, pretty much nailed it, and he was still back 2 seconds quicker around the Nordschleife. And he's tuned this car. Seems to be very good. Bit fast, well, very fast on the straights. Very powerful coming out of the corners. You do have to be very regimented with how you put down the throttle, otherwise you will spin up the tyres. Very easy to do, but if you just hold back a little bit, be a bit more patient, and wait for the power to come in nicely, then you really will make the most of this car. Coming back onto the oval, taking a nice line through there. Don't want to hit that at the wrong angle. Crossing the line 1 lap later, it was a convincing 1st place. Next up, we go to Prague. Here we go then. 1st place on the grid, pole position. Now we're going to see this a fair few amount of times in this video. Clinical starts from pole position. So this one, I can kind of go in unopposed into turn 1 and now turn 2. So just having a quick look behind at the Ferrari, wasn't really within range of going for an overtake, so taking a normal racing line for the first couple of corners. Now, so basically just got to try and nail this first lap. I have a bit of a gap. He's not right on me, so I don't really need to look behind too much. Just think about what I'm doing here. Coming through this archway, you kind of want to turn in just before the archway, just before the shadow. Turned in a little bit late, but not too bad. Coming through the chicane, a little bit deep into the first apex. It's going to cost me on the way out. The Ferrari is still there, just having a quick look. So the Ferrari's actually had a decent lap as well. The pressure is still on as we round up the final corner, coming through onto the main straight to begin lap number 2. Katie and Frostbow facing the wrong way there. As we go flying through over the bridge into apex of turn 1. Massive bump there, 2 wheels over that. And then into the Love Tunnel, where we have all sorts of mating rituals going on in here. On lap 1, luckily, from pole position you can normally get away from all of that. And then just dipping 2 wheels onto that curb kind of helps you round mid-apex, and then just powering out through the exit onto the 2nd bridge of the circuit. And then again, just looking for the archway, just trying to turn in just before there's a big shadow there, a big dark shadow. I've turned in a little bit late. You see I'm a long way away from the apex, very close to that wall. Just grazing that one, and then very close, so close. I mean, if anything, that was a bit of luck that I didn't hit that. Sometimes the hitbox does seem a bit weird on that corner. or I'm just banned, and sometimes I do hit it. It's quite a common sight to see that. So rounding out lap number 2 then, we're going to flash forward to the end of lap 3. We've just gone past the back marker there. That is foreshadowing what is about to happen, because on a short configuration circuit such as Prague Short, you can never be too comfortable, never get too complacent, because back markers may well feature, as they do here. 2 more seem to be hitting each other off. Just looking ahead on the map there, there's another 4 just around this corner, and we still have just under 2 laps left to go. So a couple of these guys may well feature in this race, unfortunately, if it's in a bad way. Now rounding out this long corner, again just dipping 2 wheels onto there, or pretty much all 4 wheels, and then onto the bridge. So this Porsche up ahead, coming up to him at pretty much the worst point of the track. This is a really tricky place to overtake. So coming through here, he's going to drift very wide, and unfortunately there's a guy just sitting there still, and he smashed into him. There's nothing much we could have both done there. And then as we try to pull away, another bit of contact, so I've lost loads of time here. So I'm still in first place just about. I'm not sure how I've managed that. The second place, as you can see there, just as we take a quick look behind, he's right on me. Proximity arrow, he's flashing orange, he is that close. So we've got a Camaro there sitting. Is it a Camaro? I've probably got that wrong. As we cross the line to start the final lap in first place, so 1 lap left to go. Hopefully this goes well. Hitting the apex of 1 into 2. How's this going to go? That's how it's going to go. We're going to get smashed around by this guy and try to pull away now in second place. So you see there, you get comfortable in first place. It's never over till it's over. Into the long left. I'm going to get just tagged by the Viper. I'm around, and I just couldn't quite control that slide as well as I would have wanted. But onto the back straight. 2 Vipers here. You can see the power advantage I've got in this Carrera GT, and unfortunately we have another Porsche, and I've been brutally murdered on the bridge. Quite how I've stayed on the bridge, I don't know. If this was a real life where there were no invisible walls, I would have definitely fallen into the water there and drowned, if I hadn't already died by the time I got there. So down into 6th place. Even more carnage here being caused by the dreadful back markers, and again just going to get a good look at his name so that I can ban him, get him kicked out of this lobby. Crossing the line, there we go, it's going to be a 3rd place somehow. But then on the podium, turns out I was 2nd. So we're going to kick the guy who smashed me off at turn 2. The other guy who was ramming everyone else quit early, but I can get him banned anyway, so no worries. Here we go then, a couple of very clinical starts. Brands Hatch, we spoke about the inside line. I'm just going to stay right on the inside. There's no way they can go up the inside there at all. Leave 0 space on the exit. Be very patient on the throttle up into Druids. Turn number 2, and again just going slightly defensive to make sure they don't go for that lunge. Sometimes if you take the normal racing line, people take that as an invitation to go for a mega lunge, and you can get murdered as a result. But this time, quite a clinical start, did everything right there. We move then to VIR. Once again, pole position. I'm just going to move to the right, or stay on the right. He was looking to try to use the pit lane exit as a way to get past. Just blocked him off completely. There's no way he's coming through there. And again, patient on the exit before we get the throttle down, trying to minimise that sliding. Now that I'm in the lead, just try to really nail this first lap, really get that gap going. Then hopefully 2nd and 3rd will start fighting with each other, and then that gap will begin to open up. So through the complex, just a big dab of throttle mid-corner, there it is, just to get that car rotated through the 2nd apex. But then sometimes you get these weird races, right, where the screen just goes black, and then all of a sudden you just have to go. This kind of thing doesn't happen too often for me now, I am pleased to say, but for this race here at Rio it did seem to happen. Bit of carnage through turn 1, Ferrari BBLM smashing into the back of that Mercedes, and once again here, a good example, a very good example. All the trouble seemed to wash out to the outside. The RX-7 there, the red RX-7, tried to go around the outside, it didn't work. I went to the inside and it did work. So that was a slightly good decision there, and to not get involved in all of that. Past the Viper, who has Daddy with a question mark written on the back of his car. I'm not sure if that's a message to me, or it could be a message to anyone in this race. I'm really not sure. Perhaps he's a subscriber. If you are, then do let me know in the comments if you are in this race, if you can see yourself in this race, and of course do let me know. So this the P3, the Ferrari there in the lead, just bins himself completely, but we do have to chase down another Ferrari in the form of this F50, brightly coloured. I've gone for the exact opposite colour scheme, very dark, and just grazing the ball in the exit there of the chicane. Christ the Redeemer up on the hill there, looking down upon the noobs at Rio, what did I call it? Rio de Nubero, I think the name I gave it previously. Coming down the hill into a fast left. Now I always take this line, just go over that curb. It kind of seems like a pointless curb to me. You don't get a dirty lap marker for doing that, so consider that a clean line, or at least the game does. So the Ferrari seems to be driving very well here, having some difficulty trying to catch up with him. This isn't the kind of track that this car is best suited to. I would imagine something like Road America would be very good for this car with a long straight, but for some reason those kind of tracks don't seem to come up. You can see so far in this video we've had lots of short configurations. As I go through the move up the inside, I think he thought about going for a defensive move there, but just realised I was literally right on him and he just backed out. So good decision, I think. Could have caused a very nasty accident down that alleyway. So into the lead of the race, first place at the end of lap number 1. Let's see how the car handles the very fast sweeping turns of turn 1 and 2 of this configuration. So through there, the car does feel quite stiff, but in a way that can help with stability. You're not going to get oversteer at least. And through the second apex, or second corner, just out to the outside, very nicely done. Into turn number 3, braking halfway between the two bright signs on the left hand side, clicking the apex using all of the exit road. We are away there very nicely. Going across the line. Quick victory dance. Now this is a demented mating ritual, or at least this BMW seems to have turned into a snake, where he just literally just eats this Lambo, and the Lambo's trying to struggle free, trying to escape the grasp of the BMW, but he just can't do it. He's just absolutely struggling for his life right now, and you know, this is a dangerous time where cars can literally eat you whole pretty much. You can see that Lambo's just struggling for its life, just trying to escape, but then it just disappears. So not only do we have cars that can eat you, but are also invisible. So that's a dangerous world we live in these days. We're going to come to the final race here at Suzuka, towards the back of the grid this time, so a bit different. 17th. The VW ahead doesn't really get off the line very well, so that's one position for free. Into the first couple of corners then, normally a shit show. Let's see if it happens again. McLaren and RX-7 come weighing in. A couple of cars going very wide. Watch the yellow Lamborghini trying to rejoin, and he just comes back on without looking, smashes himself back off. So I guess a bit of karma there. I got tagged halfway through turn 1. It luckily didn't affect me. A couple of cars off, or pretty much half the grid off. That RX-7, sorry, the NSX there getting tagged. Just going around the outside, up into 8th place, 17th to 8th, 9 positions gained. I was fairly lucky there, to be honest though. I did get tagged halfway through turn 1, but sometimes you're just at the mercy of the gods, the racing gods. Whether or not you've prayed enough times that day decides your fate. So this Aston Martin took a weird line through that final corner, and it just kind of turned out last second. I couldn't really react in time. But anyway, still in 8th place, lost a position to the Honda NSX. Would you think probably a good car around this kind of track, given that I think it was partially worked on around here. I remember Senna doing a video of him actually driving the NSX around this track. Tried to scare him into a mistake through there. He's not going to bite, he's going to stick to his lines very nicely. Sometimes you can do that, just show yourself in the mirror, show yourself slightly off the racing line, put them off basically, make them think about something else that they shouldn't be. I mean, when you're driving you should be thinking about where am I braking, where am I turning. If you can make them think about you trying to overtake them, it's just something else to put them off. He goes very wide there, a big invitation for me to go up the inside, up into 7th place, the Porsche up ahead, sister Porsche off onto the grass. That's another position gained, up into 6th place. So the positions are coming up nicely here. First, second and third seem to be a fair amount ahead. That does happen in these hoppers quite often when you get these big incidents on turn 1 and most of the pack gets involved. A couple of guys at the front don't get involved, and then they can develop a very big gap very quickly. So it can often be very hard to reel in that gap, especially in a short race of 5 or so minutes. So a couple of JDM cars here to negotiate. The RX-7 picked the wrong line there, and then going around the outside of the skyline, I would have thought he would have turned in a bit earlier there, hence the contact, but he gets back ahead anyway. And then through the final corner in 5th place. I'm pretty sure I should have a straight line speed advantage. The RX-7 right on my tail there, just poking into the bottom of the screen to say hi to the F4H Super GT viewers. And there are the extra horsepowers, if that's the right way of saying it, probably isn't, as I easily overtake the skyline up into 4th place. Now going to try to seek a couple of good laps to try to catch up with the pack ahead. You can see them just around the corner ahead. And this is the end of lap 6. You can see I'm a bit closer. These two guys are driving fairly well, but you do remember that global rallycross Beetle that we overtook on the start line. Well, he's going to get involved here and just wipe them both out for me, so thank you for that, as I quite graciously accept 2nd place on the final corner. Overall review of this S-Class hopper, perhaps the configurations are a bit too short, so you're getting a lot of short configurations. Like here, I mean, we've got the short Suzuka, we haven't got the long one. The short Brands Hatch, not the long one. We had the short Prague, not the long one. And I'm just saying that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with those tracks, it's just perhaps the longer one could split the race up a little bit and you won't get the problem of back markers quite as easy. But there we go, hopefully turn 10 and listening and take that kind of thing on board, because the track configurations could be a lot better. And I do hope you enjoyed this video. As always guys, do let me know in the comments. I hope to see you in the next one. Of course, smash the like button if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new and would like to see more. I shall see you next time. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.
Listen.